Morning. As you will see from the program, it has been organized in such a way because we thought there would be parliament. But there's no parliament. So we leave the program as it is. To start with, I would like to welcome the ambassador from Australia. Thank you very much, madam. I know you're a great supporter of Gebder Links. We got funding from you from last year. This is how we've been able to do our village workshops. Had it not been to you, we wouldn't have been able to do these village workshops. So I would like everybody to congratulate and to clap a hand for the new ambassador of South Africa. Maybe she can stand up so that you can see who she is, and since she's new here in Mauritius. What did I say? I said South Africa. You see, this is my problem. Excuse me, my apologies, from Australia. And we have other very distinguished people with us today. We have the European Union, Natalie. Where is Natalie? You can stand up, Natalie. These are the partners of Gebder Links, and all the high-level people are here with us. You are all high-level people, and all the delegates from different countries are here with us today. We have the advisor of the Minister of Local Government, Mr. Sanjit Tilak, who is a great supporter of Gebder Links as well. Thank you very much, Sanjit, for being with us this morning. And we have all our judges, we have our panelists, we have our partners who will give statements on their collaboration with Gebder Links. For those who do not know, maybe I should say the vision of Gebder Links, it's an organization that works in the 15 countries of the SADC with an office, with offices in 10 countries, including Mauritius. And the head office is in South Africa. We have with us a member of staff from South Africa, Karisai. Thank you very much for being with us today. If you can stand up, people know who you are. And she arrived very late last night with how many luggages, how many suitcases? 5 suitcases, and she was stopped at the customs because she had 5 suitcases with her. Okay, so this is how Gebder Links work. We carry suitcases everywhere we go because we have so many things to do. We abuse people, we accuse people, we abuse people. This is the way we work so that we get the work done. So what I would like to thank all our judges and Brian Grover, who is the main judge. He was the main judge last year, and he was with us throughout the summit, and he went to Johannesburg and he was a judge there as well, so he knows the process, and he will explain a bit the process of judging. It's important for people here today in the hall to know. I would like to especially thank the survivors of gender-based violence. Nous allons remercier les survivantes de la violence qui vous présentent papier. I would like you to give them a big clap. We have survivors of gender-based violence here with us. These people are here with us. They will present papers, and 2 of them will go to South Africa to present their paper there. They don't have passports, they've never traveled in their lives, and this will be a great opportunity for them. Donc, ils disent qu'ils ont un passeport, ils ont voyagé, je vous présente papier, vous connaissez un peu un père terrible, un téléphone générique, c'est 3 fois, papillon dans le ventre, j'ai pas connu qui pour faire, mais c'est bon de me faire tout, vous poser des questions, vous êtes capable de répondre, et j'espère qu'il va jouer dans un panel, pas vous trop dire aux autres pour essayer de comprendre, et je suis capable de sentir à l'aise, vous êtes tous en créole, ok? Donc, nous parlons nous les tout le monde à l'aise. Donc, Gebder Links, c'est une grande vision, il y a une grande mission, et dans Maurice, nous travaillons sur 3 focus. We work on gender governance, we work on gender justice, and the survivors we have here with us today, it's part of the gender justice program because we did our research on gender-based violence, where we've seen that 25% of women in Mauritius have known violence. And since we've put up programs and projects to to see how we can have GBV by 50% when we come to 2015. Because we work on the SADC protocol, the 28 articles of the SADC protocol, and one of the themes is having gender-based violence banned by 2015. Another of the theme is having 50% women in politics by 2015. As you know, the Prime Minister has talked about the electoral reform, and we have the Local Government Act already, which talks about gender-neutral approach, 33% either women or men. So Mauritius is being used as a model in the region. So I'm sure when the minister comes later, he will talk more about it, about what the ministry has been doing. And it has been a great impact, and we are using this in the region. So we work with localities for gender and governance. We've been doing lots of training in all localities of Mauritius. There are 7 localities who will present paper on 12. I think that's not bad at all, over 50%. What we do monitoring in localities. The judges have the scorecards, so we ask them to fill their scorecards to see that they have made progress or not. We work with the media. There are 2 media enterprises who will present papers as well. We work with, we've signed MOU with La Sentinelle, with the MBC, with Le Mauricien Group, and with the Défi Media Group. So we work with partners, with NGOs, through the SADC Protocol Alliance, and we have Jérôme Boule, who is here with us today, who is the focal person of the SADC Protocol Alliance, because it's the organization, Media Watch organization, that is the organization for the representing the SADC Protocol Alliance in Mauritius. So we work with all different NGOs, and we have invited them to submit papers as well. And maybe I should tell you, I should add that last year we had 18 participants going to Johannesburg to present papers, and we got 8 prizes. I think we were the best. We did the best, and I hope that we will be the best again this year. We have Mega here, who is bending her head. She got the prize on women in politics. She got the first prize for the region. We have Dr. Soicheda here with us today. She's our judge. She got the first prize on Needle Exchange Program, HIV and AIDS. So we had a few first prizes, and we had a few runner-ups. And this is why we have decided also that today what we are going to do, I'm going to ask Brian and Glover to say a few words, to say how the process will be, how the judges will judge all the entries, because we got 42 entries. Last year we had 69, but this year we got 42, but we had quality entries. The 42 entries are really, really great, and it will be a tough job, we know, for the judges. This is why we gave them all their packs last week, so that they could go through all the entries and sort of have a good idea of what people have written. And after Brian Glover, I will ask our partners here today. We have the chairperson of the Grand Port District Council. We have Jérôme Boule, the focal person of SADC Protocol Alliance Network. And last but not least, we have Ms. Rika Soboran, the Deputy Director of NBC. So one will talk about the media, one will talk about the localities, and then Jérôme will talk about the SADC Protocol Alliance Network. And I would like to seize this opportunity to thank Sheila Bonnoari, Professor Bonnoari, who is here with us today. I contacted her at the last minute, and she said, look, it's difficult to refuse Gebder Links. So she's going to present a paper on women in politics, the 50-50 campaign that we are having at the moment. And so she's going to talk about that, she and Jérôme afterwards. But without further ado, what I would like to do, I'd like to ask Brian to say a few words, and then we'll ask our partners to say a few words. Thank you.
everyone, and would like to thank Loga for a usual last-minute request. I was coming here very relaxed without a tie, and obviously she came up to me in the last minute saying that I've got a good idea. I said yes, probably would have coffee. And the good idea was that she wanted me to say a few words. So I managed to scribble a few things down on my envelope that I just got here. And I hope I can read my own handwriting. Members of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, dear friends, dear participants, I would like to welcome you all here, and I would like also to thank Gebder Links for their work. I always say that if we really want changes in mindsets, if we want changes in society, we need people with a strong will, and we need people who have the faith in what they do. They have to be sincere. And for the last 2 years since I've been at the head of the Equal Opportunities Commission, I have had the opportunity of working with Loga, and it has been a very fruitful experience. It has also broadened my horizons. I have met different people, and people who think differently, and this is very important. I think that if we want to enrich ourselves, we need to open up to others, and with sharing and interaction, this is the best way forward. I was not supposed to be here on this week. We had planned a working session in Rodrigues, but fortunately, when I called Serge Claire, he said, pas casse la tête, pas besoin de venir parce que moi vous avez été Premier ministre à cause de la réforme électorale. So at least the reform electoral is bringing some positive points at an early stage, which allows me to be here today. For judges, I would like to say that from the experience I've gathered so far, especially at this level, at this stage of the judging process, we have to make sure that we are not just here as mere judges. We have to make sure that we have an interaction session with the candidates. Our aim at the end of the day is to make good candidates become better candidates. And I think in that sharing process, where we're going to ask the right questions to the participants, it's going to bring out the best out of them, because we are also looking forward at the international level, at the regional level. So that's very important. We have also a role pédagogique in what we're going to do. So this is the approach we need to have today. And to the participants, all I'm going to say, it's very easy, pas casse la tête, relax. Don't stress, il n'y a aucune raison pour stresser, parce que justement, ce qui vous fait dire à Banjis, c'est qu'il nous pas là pour giser simplement. Parce que simplement giser, qui pas amène du monde améliore aux autres. Et ce qui nous peut faire, nous faire une session un peu plus interactive, que nous pose beaucoup de questions. Mais pas parce que nous posons questions, ça veut dire ce que nous pouvons faire n'est pas bon. Si nous ne posons questions, dis-nous, soit pour un mari, soit pour pas bon du tout. Mais si nous posons questions, ça veut dire aussi qu'il nous fait envie d'enrichir notre projet, notre présentation. Pas négliger présentation. Presentation is very important. Don't overlook the way you do the presentation. I know that in today's world, we are whiz kids with computers and all that, et nous tout contents d'utiliser un PowerPoint, ça fait beaucoup plus joli, mais pas négliger l'aspect présentation orale, là, bien important. L'année dernière, je me rappelle mon camarade Tristan Bréville qui est là, nous salue, tu peux faire sa remarque là, tu peux faire ce travail là, et ben, tu peux dire à un candidat, pas négliger l'aspect présentation. C'est bien important. But so, at the end of the day, you're going to be leaders of the project. So when you're going to lead a project, you've got to show leadership skills. And to show that, you have to be able to talk well. Donc, pas négliger ça l'aspect causer là aussi. Reste la gauche, bien des trois coups, prends des trois verres de l'eau, mais causer carré, parce que ça, il est bien important, il fait un gros impact. Ok? Donc, pour terminer, nous sommes contents de remercier tout. Je souhaite une bonne chance et surtout, prends du plaisir. Just take pleasure out of what you're going to do, because this is the most important thing. Whenever you do something, do it with your heart, doing with do it with sincerity, and it's going to pay off at the end of the day. Thank you all, and have a very good day. Thank you.
Director and staff members of Gebder Links, the judges, distinguished participants to this summit, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Allow me first of all to express my deep appreciation on your attendance at this very important national summit, because it is very important. In fact, everything that Gebder Links does, in fact, is very important for Mauritius, because as rightly said by many, and as demonstrated by the latest population survey, 51% of women in this country, and I mean, we need really more sort of participation and recognition in this country. I am sure that this summit will no doubt, well, it will open up possibilities to enhance current practices in our respective organizations. I thank Gebder Links for inviting MBC, the biggest media organization, and I think the best media partner that Gebder Links might have had in Mauritius, to make a statement in respect of gender mainstreaming at the opening of the summit. Ladies and gentlemen, gender mainstreaming is an essential component of the services and operations of the MBC. As the national broadcaster of a vibrant democracy, the MBC has a very important role to play in building and sustaining a climate conducive to peace and social harmony. The board, and we note the presence of board member Mrs. Mariam Gouda here, the directorate, and the staff of the corporation are fully conscious of the important role of the corporation. And it is not only because of the latest population survey that one of the core objectives of the MBC is the implementation of its gender policy, which we adopted some years back with the help of Gebder Links. It is a fact that women have always had to face difficulties and various kinds of discrimination in all parts of the world, on all issues, especially issues relating to the fundamental equality of human beings in society. At the MBC, we are all conscious that the struggle for a just and humane society is never ending. And each one of us, wherever we are, has his or her own contribution to make in this field. We are also guided by Mahatma Gandhiji's saying, I quote, "When the woman moves, the family moves, and with it the village moves, and the nation moves," unquote. We all know that Mauritius has experienced a radical change in the status of girls and women through free secondary schooling and economic development. Women are now present in all economic fields, and their role in the decision-making process is increasing day by day. MBC is a public organization where women occupy higher posts now compared to the past. However, only having more women in higher posts does not make an organization more gender sensitive, especially in the services sector. Since the last 5 years, women's voices in MBC's news reports has tremendously increased from a mere 14% in 2008 to 52% recently. Ladies and gentlemen, the MBC has thus been able to promote a gender-inclusive media environment that has empowered women to fully participate in media. We have given the Mauritian women and girls access to expression through news reports and a higher number of local programs, both in radio and on TV. And I think the number of participation to this summit, I mean the participation you have received, Gebder Links has received for TV programs and radio programs has increased even more compared to last year. Our programming schedules cater to programs which promote the role of women in society and which address social issues such as gender-based violence, poverty, unemployment, entrepreneurship, and empowerment. Through the increased participation of women, MBC pays tribute to the Mauritian woman all year round. We do not wait for commemorative days. We pay tribute to the Mauritian women every day. This tribute is in fact imbibed in the very culture of the MBC. Firstly, through its policy and administrative framework. Secondly, through its radio and television programming. Thirdly, through the gender balance in its news reports. And fourthly, through its policy on the use of commercial materials. Ladies and gentlemen, as a national broadcaster, the MBC will continue to contribute in the never-ending struggle for a humane society where there should be no discrimination and no distinction between women's rights and human rights. I thank you for your attention.
Distinguished guests, participants, my fellow colleagues, the judges, Brian, who is the Chief Judge. Thank you, Logan, for asking me to be very brief for less than 5 minutes. And I see just next to my name is written that I'm the focal person for the Alliance. In the present context in Mauritius, it is very, I don't know that it is very fine to be focal person for Alliance. Fortunately, we're not talking of local alliance, we are talking of the SADC Gender Protocol Alliance. And what is this SADC Gender Protocol Alliance? This is, as I'm new in this function, I feel that we should say a few words on this alliance itself. It is the network, the focal point of a network of NGOs that are lobbying, canvassing to make some progress on the gender issue. The alliance has been established in 2005 to campaign for the setting up of the SADC Gender Protocol, and afterwards now the alliance is campaigning for its implementation. And I can say that from what I've seen in Southern Africa, from what I read from the reports from Gebder Links, and from what I witnessed in Mauritius itself, that the members of this network forming this alliance have been doing a pretty good job. And in trying to have all those 28 objectives of SADC protocol being implemented by year 2015. Certainly, now that we are a few months away from 2015, we must admit that there is much have been done, but still we have a long way to go to reach those objectives. Now, we worked here, as Luga stated before, on constitutional and legal rights. We tried to promote women participation in governance, in education and training, and I've seen that at grassroots level much has been done for economic empowerment and to fight against gender-based violence. And Gebder Links, being the lead organization to have these. Good morning. Welcome, Mr. Minister. Gebder Links being the lead organization, and have been campaigning for a greater participation of women in decision-making processes. And much to our pleasure, the last amendment to the Local Government Act has made it possible to increase the participation of women in local government. And I've seen since 1850, we have to wait till this year that we can have a woman being Lord Mayor in Bordeaux. This is a long way. We can imagine, since 1850, the municipality is here. The municipal council has been established in 1850, and we have to wait for 2014 to have a member, a woman, becoming Lord Mayor of the capital city. This is a long way. This is a long way. So, what is the way forward for the Alliance? The Alliance will have to work towards a post-2015 agenda. We have to work harder as regards the 50-50 schedule. We've seen that we have to work. Fortunately, there is the white paper for electoral reform has been published, and we have some very interesting proposals from here. So I feel that in the future, Alliance will have to continue its work to fight against gender-based violence, to fight for ending poverty, because in that situation of poverty, women suffer more, and we have to move forward towards more economic justice. I would tell the participants, we'll listen, as the Chief Judge said before, that we are going not only to judge, but to advise and to exchange. So what I will tell you, what I will tell all participants, that feel at ease, make your presentations, and we'll exchange, we'll advise as to improve. And to all other members of the Alliance, we should continue our work in the year to come, focusing on 50-50, on the fight against gender violence, and on economic empowerment. Thank you very much.
Some of my thoughts. I heard one of the preceding speakers speaking before me saying that when we believe in a cause, we do it with sincerity and conviction. And here I am. I certainly believe in this cause of fighting for greater numbers of women in politics. But let me just say, first of all, each time I'm invited to talk about women in politics or parity or gender equality, I really like to make the point that when we talk about greater numbers of women, I am personally not interested in a numerical issue, just getting the numbers right. That is very important. I'm not saying that it is not important. It is important, but I would like us to go beyond the question of the numerical issue. When I'm talking about parity, I'm talking about equitable democracy. I'm talking about inclusion. I'm talking about citizenship rights and justice. So, let me just ask you to close your eyes for 1 minute and to concentrate on the picture of our parliament that we have in Mauritius. If we close our eyes for half a minute and we look at what happens in the parliament and where are people located and how many men and women are there, we would obviously see that there are some women on both sides of the house scattered in a very sparse manner. And then when you open your eyes and you say, well, yes, there are a few women, so what? And the thing is that we get a general response, well, this is normal, this is Mauritius, you know, we are still very much a patriarchal country, and therefore we have got increases in numbers of women in parliament, but it's just normal. We are making progress. We've heard all the speakers say that we've made great progress, and indeed, it's undeniable that we have made progress. But when we're talking about parity and we're talking 50-50, the progress to my mind is very, very slow. Let me ask you the question then, if you were to close your eyes and ask yourself this question, that you have in front of you a totally changed parliament, with the numbers of women outnumbering the numbers of men. We have many, many, many more women and very few men in parliament. Just try to figure this picture of our parliament. Not even 50-50, more than 50, like what it is now, you know, 3/4 men and 1/4 women. Close your eyes and envision this situation. Then ask yourself this question, what is this? You would not get this kind of a response, this is normal, it is, you know, a normal thing in Mauritius. You get an uproar. You get people saying, well, there's something fundamentally wrong in this country. How is it that we have, you know, so few men in this country? Men will be screaming all around. Even some women will be screaming and telling you this is wrong, this is unacceptable. Where are we going? I think you can see that the responses are very different. So the question that we should ask ourselves, so why is this response different and what does it mean? And that we can do later because we have very little time, so probably I will leave the question open for us to think about. Now, we are often told that we are full-fledged citizens. Our constitution says so, and I'm glad that Mr. Brian Glover is in our midst today. Perhaps he can help us to sort out some of those things in terms of what equal opportunities can be really be given. I, for one, I believe that there is a lot of talk. You know, we need to walk our talk, because although there is progress made, and certainly Gebder Links and hats off Loga and all her team, not only Loga, and a special word of thanks to the survivors of domestic violence, gender-based violence who are in our midst. Really, I'm very glad et bien content qu'ils aient vu là aujourd'hui parce que c'est eux de la voix qui nous fait entendre. Au départ, comme tu peux dire, qui sont contents de dire qu'ils besoin d'appeler beaucoup de femmes de la politique, mais sont contents aussi de dire qu'ils nous besoin d'appeler beaucoup de femmes de la politique pour une raison bien spécifique. Et bien, des raisons bien spécifiques, c'est pour défendre l'intérêt de la femme, défendre l'intérêt de tout un citoyen. Et allez nous dire un petit peu plus sur ça. In Mauritius, we have, made a lot of progress by the increasing numbers of women. Research shows, this is just not my imagination. I know I have a fertile imagination, but it's certainly not my imagination. It's inspired from research. Research findings show us very clearly across the world that when there are more women in parliament, even though sometimes we find women not talking, not speaking, etc., but the thing is that there is a much greater possibility and probability that women's issues will be taken on board. And research in Mauritius actually conveys that. Many male parliamentarians have testified in my own research and many other colleagues' research that when there is a gender issue, they are not the ones who are going to bring this to the table. They tell you, at least they are honest enough to tell you that they are not the ones going to bring it to the table. But they also tell you that if a woman brings it to the table and it gets debated, they may support it if they believe that this is going to improve society, and that's good enough. We need to be happy that they will support it, so they support it, and that's good enough. And